10 sekuntia. Noniin, sit laita. Mä pistän
Sir, just what are we facing here?
Boy saved.
Ready your men, Captain. We will only get one chance. And remember, when you hear the whispers, call for help. Do not attack.
Miksi Path of Exileissa on vaan... Ei, kun tää on Path of Exile 2. Okei.
Hear the whispers.
Sorry.
What do you think he was on about?
It's Dorman, right?
Yeah.
Then Dorman, shut your damn mouth. Ugh, why
Shut
do
your
I
mouth,
always
boy.
get stuck with these rookies?
Hey, the kid's got a mean cleave. Give him a chance.
Quiet.
Miksi tää video on 15 fps? Koska boy?
Sullen!
Siinä näytettiin varmaan spelli, mikä on pelissä nyt sitten.
A mean cleave, eh, Captain? Rookie can't even lift his own sword.
Ei se Firevaali ollut. Siinä oli kolme veiviä. Yksi keskellä, 2 sivuilla.
Captain? It's here.
Werewolfit puissa vai?
Rain! Send the signal!
What the fuck?
Rain!
Oho! Kiroili!
On my back will be blade up!
Come on! I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oo, Nanskari, en mä tiedä tohon.
It's a man.
No, it's not.
Oho! Siinä on hieno spelli jo. Joku tornado.
Run!
Tää on Poe 2 julkaistustraileri varmaan nyt. Oho. Lol. Seiso sinne edes. Tuon silmät vois olla vähän paremmat.
Stop! Humanity isn't ready.
On your feet, lad.
Sir. The captain,
You'll be fine. Here.
Mitäs tossa on?
What is this?
Kapteeni antoi sulle lahja, mutta siitä tulikin joku tommonen. Mikä sieltä oli?
Get the body.
Stop. Mortal. It can still be contained. You don't know what you have unleashed.
Your kind no longer control this world. We cannot destroy your body, it's true. But you will watch as we destroy everything you have built. Find him! Feed. Grow, my child.
Mitä
I'll make
vittua?
sure you can eat your fill.
Mikä lonkero siellä oikein on? Sitä tippui joku käärme tohon. Siisti. Hei, onks se toi? Tuleeko sit tommonen? Ihan jepa traileri, joo. Ihan jepa. Mä en laskenut Alleni innosta tai mitään, mutta silleen niinku 7/10.
I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Now, Path of Exile 2 is going into early access in around 2 weeks on December the 6th.
Oh shit, dude.
Even though it's early access, this isn't just some small taste. The game is huge. In this live stream, we're going to be introducing everything you can expect. So without further ado, let's roll the gameplay trailer.
Existence is a thing of beauty.
Tää Arthari.
But impermanent. Life and death are mortal enemies, and yet bound to one another.
True.
The continuation of life must be protected at all costs.
Fishing, ei.
Some have said
Tuleeko tähän kalastus?
methods are brutal. To this I say, there can be no salvation without sacrifice.
Gameplay traileri, okei. Okay. Se on hassua nähdä Path of Exile näin hidastemposena. En oo koskaan pelannut Vege, en tiedä. Pitäisikö mun kokeilla? Oho.
We are faced with the end, and I will do what I must.
Joo, mikä tää on? Hei, mikä toi mappi oli? Joo. Tää musiikki on bangeri as fuck.
Those who obsess with death, let them soon be acquainted with it.
Joo, näinhän se aina Naxteri menee.
Now, as you just saw, even in early access, Path of Exile 2 is a big game. It's actually been 5 years since we announced PoE 2, and over that time we've revealed a lot. It's been in bits and pieces. It's pretty hard to keep track of it all, so today we're going to do a full rundown of all the content that will be available at the start of early access. Classes, character progression systems, and for the first time, a full overview of the end game. This is going to be a big one, so get comfortable. For 20 years, Rayclast has been free from any sources of corruption. But the Count of Ogham, tempted by promises of power, intends to harness it once more. The dead are rising, monsters are mutating, and madness is spreading. Under the dark influence of corruption, the Count doles out sentences of death to any who would question him.
Hän pääsi pakoon.
And this is where you find yourself at the start of PoE 2.
Samanlainen.
Explore the dark forests of Ogham.
Herät rannalta.
Traverse the barren...
Hei! Fix your shit, dude!
...plains of the Vasteri Desert.
F.
And delve into the jungle ruins of Utsal, an ancient Vaal city. There are challenges...
Ei oo musta kiinni. Ei oo musta. FF. Kaikki huutaa F:ää tonne. Teillä oli yksi työ, hei.
Monsters, hidden runes, lost camps and treasures.
Oh no.
Roaming merchants, and of course, unique bosses. No two areas are the same. It falls to you to track down the seed of corruption, the source of all this devastation. On the way, you'll face fearsome monsters, meet strange characters, forge unlikely bonds, and uncover lost civilizations.
Siellä on supa aika moni tällä hetkellä. Ei, onks tää stutteria lopuaikaa?
Let's have a look at them. The Monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of combat, and his mechanics involve building up and keeping momentum. Like all classes in PvP, you'll want to use a wide variety of skills to mix and match different
tehnyt
combos.
pelistä paljon interaktiiviseen nykyään. Lisännyt open worldin aktiviteetteja tälleen, mikä on hyvä. Joo, nyt ei saa mitään selvää. Tää on iso F. Ei se vaikuta siihen, kaikki tulee pelaamaan poi kakkosta silti, mutta tää on iso F tälle streamille.
You can choose an existence.
Technical difficulties! Joo. Mut vittu, että tällä on katsojia. Jumalauta pojat, että on katsojia. Melkein yhtä paljon kuin Campfire-chatilla Diablos. Ei kuitenkaan ihan tarpeeksi. Onks noi botteja hei? Niinku mitään hittoa tällä tapahtuu? 10 000 katsojaa lähti heti pois. Eivät jaksa katsoa. Ymmärrettävää. Enemmän Prime-supeja kuin chatteja. Joo, täällä joku nyt Joku nyt kuule En mä ikinä nähnyt noin paljon Prime-supeja samaan aikaan. Tässä on kyllä joku juttu. No jos mulla tapahtuisi tolla tavalla, niin meikäläinen siis mä vähän veikkaan, että tuolla on varmaan 1000 tollasta. Sanotaan, että se on niinku jo... Mä voisin puoli vuotta matkustella ulkomailla, jos tulisi tämmönen yksi päivä mun striimiin joskus. Technical difficulties. 30 000 katsojaa lähti. Porukka varmaan sanoo tässä vaiheessa, että fuck it, katsotaan myöhemmin. Mut hei, nyt ei oo stutteroitunut enää ollenkaan toi striimi. Voisiko ne pistää videon päälle pian uudestaan? Niin, oliks se siinä? Mennään nukkumaan ja katsotaan YouTubesta huomenna video vai? Sekin voi olla. Onhan ne selvästi botteja kuin samaan aikoihin tehty käyttäjät. Joo, kannattaa muistaa, että tosi monissa uusissa peleissä tulee bottajia streamereille ja virallisiin striimeihin. Koska se on niin iso mainos sille pelille. What the fuck?
There are 21 active skills for quarter staves.
Let's go.
So this just scratches the surface of the options that you have. By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to pack, spewing where you find yourself at the start of PoE 2. Explore the dark forests of Ogum.
Ei se mitään. We go again.
Traverse the barren plains of the Vasteri Desert.
We go again.
And delve into the jungle ruins of Utsal, an ancient Vaal city.
Utsal.
There are challenging monsters, hidden rooms, lost camps and treasures, roaming merchants, and of course, unique bosses. No two areas are the same. It falls to you to track down the seed of corruption, the source of all this devastation. On the way, you'll face fearsome monsters, meet strange characters, forge unlikely bonds, and uncover
aina saa olla eri mieltä chatissa, se ei haittaa ketään.
But first, you'll need to pick
Don't worry about it. Aina saa olla eri mieltä mun ja modejen kanssa, ei haittaa. Kunhan on hyvät käytöstävät.
The Monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of combat, and his mechanics involve building up and keeping momentum.
Kaikki ei oo ok sen kanssa.
In PoE 2, you'll want to use a wide variety of skills to mix and match different combos.
Se on sitä vanhaa ajattelumallia.
To get new skills, you will first need to find skill gems.
Okay.
Using a skill gem will open the gem cutting menu, which shows all the active skills available in PoE 2.
Gem cutting.
You can choose an existing skill to level up, or choose to engrave a new one. Since this is a level 7 skill gem, even if you pick a new skill, it will immediately be level 7. So there's no harm in trying out something new. The Monk primarily uses the quarterstaff. There are 3 schools of martial arts: lightning, ice,
aika siisti näköinen,
and wind. But don't think you have to stick to just one.
Whirlwindy.
The best combos are going to involve mixing elements of all 3. Let's try Killing Palm. Like many monk skills, this can be used to quickly take advantage of a specific situation. If there's an enemy on low life, you can use Killing Palm to dash to them and kill them instantly. This will provide a power charge. Then we can use a different skill to
enemmän
consume that
rahaa
power
sillä,
charge
mitä
for a
olet
much more
ostanut.
devastating
Tai
attack.
enemmän value.
The monk also has powerful combo skills. Tempest Bell, for example, is a skill that places a giant
tässä on
resonating
ehkä
bell.
vähän grafiikka, toi
Hitting the bell
UI
causes
ainakin
it to ring,
paremman
dealing
näköinen.
damage to all enemies around it. You can also do things like freeze or shock the
Toi
bell,
on
which will
suoraan
add
Poe
elemental
ykkösestä,
damage to
eiks
the
oo?
strikes.
Ei, anteeksi, Diablo 3
The monk
toi.
also has a variety of abilities to
Eiks oo?
empower his staff.
Ei,
If an
Iron
enemy is
Mike,
close to
kiitoksia
being
tosi
stunned, you
paljon.
can use staggering
Kiitos.
palm to punch them down. After that, any attack you do will shoot out wind projectiles.
Kyllä, Nanskari, kyllä. Mä tein ihan samaa
There
itse.
are 21 active skills for quarterstaves, so this just scratches the surface of the options that you have. By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to pack, spewing projectiles and obliterating
Okei, tää
screens of
monkki
enemies with
näyttää
huge combo
badass.
attacks.
Tää näyttää badass.
Now, if you like a style of melee that's a little slower but hits much harder, then the warrior is for you. He pounds the ground with big chunky attacks and can shrug off the hits of
Sanotaanko
small
näin,
enemies
että
with large
Iippo,
amounts of armor.
toisessa on 2010
Even though the
grafiikat ja
mace slams
tässä
are slow,
tuntuu
you
olevan
never
vähän
lose
niinku
control. Longer attacks
2020.
can be retargeted as you go, and if you find yourself committed to a
Toi
long attack,
UI
you
on
can dodge
selkeästi
roll out of it
päivitetty
at any
esimerkiksi.
time.
Siitä huomaa hyvin.
Among the skill option for maces, you'll find a variety of slams, fire attacks, war cries, and shield skills. Here, I'm going to slam the ground, rending it apart with lines of fire. Any slam skill will then cause these fissures to erupt with lava.
VG,
I
no
can even
level
run through them with a skill
1
like Stampede
mopeja,
to do
hei,
huge amounts
älä
of
viitti.
damage. The warrior can also use war cries, which can empower your next skill. Seismic Cry, for example, will double any
Joo,
slams from
sähän
your next
pystyt
attack.
animation
The
cancelaa
Stampede
vissiin
counts as a slam,
spacella.
so I can double
Eiks
that
niin
for
ollut?
even more craziness. If you want to go a little faster and be a little more defensive, equip a
Oho,
shield.
kato.
In PoE 2, you can raise your shield at any time to block all damage from the front, even spells.
What?
While holding up your shield, your stun meter will build as you take damage, so be careful. If it reaches 100%, your stance will break and you will be vulnerable.
Okei, tossa vasemmalla alhaalla tulee
Some
mittari,
enemies
et
also
ei se
have unblockable
loputtomasti ole.
attacks, which are indicated by
Mä
this
jo
red
ajattelin,
flash.
että mitä hittoa.
If you see one of these coming, make sure to dodge out of the way.
Siistin näköinen.
Using a shield also gives you access to shield skills, like Shield Charge, which allows you to charge towards enemies and stun them. While charging, you're also blocking the whole time, so you have full damage immunity from the front.
Tilannekohtaisesti voi olla OP, joo.
The warrior also has access to totems. Some totems have built-in abilities, like Shockwave Totem, which can be
Totems?
placed to stun nearby enemies and trigger aftershocks like those from the earthquake. But you can also get Ancestral Warrior Totems, which allow you to use any slam skill in your repertoire. This is a meta skill, which means that it's a skill you can put other skills into.
Joo,
I can take a
munkki
slam
oli
like
tossa
Sunder
äsken. Se
and
näytti
socket
tosi
it into my
hyvälle.
Ancestral Warrior Totem. Now when I summon him, he'll sit there
Munkki
and
oli
slam the
Diablo
monsters from a
3 aina mun
distance.
toinen lemppari.
There are 20 active skills for maces, so there's a lot more to try out. But by endgame, you're going to be dropping hammers
Mä
from the
odotan
sky,
druidia
moving
kyllä.
fearlessly into combat, and separating the very earth you stand on. Time for some ranged attacks. The ranger is primarily about the bow, but we wanted to make sure that she feels agile as well.
Joo, se druidi näytti
In
tosi
PoE 2, you
siistillä.
can
Se
shoot while moving.
karhuformi varsinkin.
Combined with all the skills the ranger has that allow you to jump around, you will have a lot of mobility in combat.
Jotkut pöllitään,
Bow
ei sille
skills
voi
have a
mitään.
variety of lightning, poison, ice, and physical attacks.
Se on ihan
Lightning
fine.
attacks bounce around between targets. You can also stick lightning arrows in the ground which explode when hit
Osuu
by the
suoraan
bouncers,
tuohon kaveriin.
or electrocute enemies to take them out of combat. Ice attacks allow you to slow and freeze enemies to keep them away from you.
Mä tykkään tosta Spacesta
Using
kyllä, toi on
poison
kiva
not only
lisä
can you
tähän
slowly
peliin.
damage your enemies from afar, but also grow some interesting plants. With 21 bow skills and all the mobility and combo tools the ranger has, you can take advantage of every situation. By endgame, you'll be creating hundreds of arrows, be they falling from the sky, bouncing around between enemies, or spraying out of tornadoes.
What the fuck?
You might have noticed in the bottom left of the screen that the flask slots look a little different. In
Joo,
PoE 2,
on
you
vaan
have one
yksi
dedicated
flaski.
life flask slot
Ja
and
mana
one
ja
mana
hoiva.
flask slot. Flasks gain charges as you kill enemies, and typically allow you to heal 6 or 7 times if they're full.
Näin on, Jippo,
But that's
näin
not
on.
the only thing you can use charges for. Charms are a new item type that will automatically defend you from various debuffs or damage types. Having trouble with getting frozen? Equip a
Siis
thawing
mitä nää
charm.
on?
When it's fully charged, it will make you immune to freeze for 3 seconds if you get frozen. To recharge them, just kill more monsters. You can gain more slots for charms by upgrading your belt.
Annot sormeja. Okei.
The mercenary wields a
Interesting.
crossbow that can be loaded with different ammo types, offering versatility, power, and mobility. All classes in Path of Exile 2 can be controlled with WASD, which makes this class play exactly like a shooter. For the crossbow, you will find skills that
Aikoks
look
joku
like
pelata
shotguns,
Vassilla tätä peliä?
sniper
Onks
rifles,
chatissa
assault
kukaan
rifles,
semmonen?
and even grenade launchers. But not only that, there are a wide variety of more interesting elemental ammos too. It's very fast to switch between
Mä niin
ammo
toivon
types,
silloin kun
as long as
Diablo
you already
4
have them
tuli, että
loaded,
siitä olisi tullut meidän
which makes the
streamin
mercenary
pääpeli,
able to
mutta
combo
niin se
abilities
ei ollut
together
niin
for
hyvä
devastating
silloin.
effect.
Ehkä tästä tulee. Miten olis?
Use Glacial Bolt to create walls of ice to separate enemies, then switch to fragmentation rounds to explode the ice, dealing massive AoE damage.
Katsotaan nyt, se selviää tässä varmaan
If I come
lähellä.
across an armored enemy, I could use
Kerran
armor piercing
taisi,
rounds
eikö
to
se
break their
toiminut
armor,
siinä vaan
and then
sitten vaan?
high velocity rounds to take them down. Or perhaps I could fire a gas grenade to poison enemies,
Mieletön
detonating
hype.
the cloud with an explosive shot for
Katsoja
massive damage.
150 000. On muillakin hypejä, älä huoli.
If you want to call in some suppressing fire, you can summon artillery ballistas. These have a minimum
Kärsimystä en
range,
tiedä,
so
mitä
you'll want to
meinaan.
prepare your position carefully before moving in.
Liikaa pelaajia servulla vai?
There are 22 active skills for
Se voi olla.
crossbows. By endgame, you'll be calling destruction down from the sky as you litter the battlefield with
Joo,
grenades
se on
and
yksi
pepper
ihan
your
totta.
enemies with
Me
your
tullaan
automatic
kuolemaan
shotgun.
DC:ihin varmaan niin paljon.
If
Mehän
you're
pelataan
looking to take a
HC:lla
backseat and
tietenkin.
let your minions do the work, then the witch should be your choice. She can call forth hordes of undead monsters to fight for her while casting powerful chaos spells that debilitate her enemies.
Hetkinen, tää näyttää tosi
Cult
huonolle.
skills are some of the most varied in the game, with skeletons, noxious spells, specialty minions, curses, and sacrificial magic. Before we talk about minions, we'll have to talk about a new resource in Path of Exile 2 called
Solo
Spirit.
self-founded. En mä tiedä,
This
onko
is a
tässä muuta
spirit gem,
vaihtoehtoja
which
tässä.
allows you to pick from a range of persistent skills.
Extended
All classes
Random.
have a variety
Joo.
of these skills which can
Mä
add
tuun
some
kuolemaan
very
niin paljon.
interesting effects, like Arctic Armor, which does cold damage to enemies that hit you, or Raging Spirits, which summon fiery skulls each time you cast a fire
Oho,
spell.
kato!
For the Witch, though, we'll want to be using our Spirit to create
Tässä
permanent
tässä.
minions. These minions will be revived automatically when they die, so you don't have to worry about resummoning them all the time.
Oh shit! Oh yes.
Here, I'm using the skill screen to allocate which minions I would like in my horde. You can see the spirit cost of each one. Skeletal warriors are cheap but weak, useful for tanking damage and distracting enemies. But I want more heavy hitters in my army, so I'm going to unsummon some warriors and instead add skeletal arsonists. Permanent minions
Toi
come
on
with special
hieno.
active abilities called command
Se voit
spells.
valita
You can order
kumpaan
these
sulla
guys to
on
detonate
enemmän.
your own minions for even more damage and area of effect. If you want a bigger army, you'll need a scepter. This new weapon type is imbued with even more spirit, allowing you to summon even more friends.
Oh shit.
And if you want an even bigger army than that, you can take advantage of corpses to summon true hordes of minions. But what can a witch do while her army is at work? Well, she has a range of chaos spells to spread disease amongst your enemies, or bone skills to impale them. Or, you know, you could curse them to make them weaker so your horde can take them down.
Kuulostaa vähän kuin
There are
Diablolta
25
periaatteessa.
active occult skills.
Ei oo
By the
huono asia.
endgame, you'll be the leader of a fearsome army of the dead, consuming everything in its path.
Sopii pelaajille kuten minä.
The sorceress bends the elements to her will, using them to unleash devastation on her foes. This classic spellcaster weaves a flurry of elemental magic
Iso
from afar.
meteoriitti.
The elemental skills have everything you might expect and more. Fireballs, icy explosions, lightning storms, you get the idea.
Okei, tää on aika
Each
siistin
spell is
näköinen.
unique and has many different ways to build and combo with others, even between different
Kato!
elements.
Mikä hiton cracklingi
Flame
toi
Wall
on?
conjures a
Holy
burning
shit.
line that not only damages enemies,
Koko
but also
mapin
empowers
kokoinen.
all projectiles that pass through it. If you place a wall and fire lightning sparks through it, they'll gain extra fire damage.
What?
It's a good idea to take advantage
Se
of the
voit
ability to
kombottaa.
automatically swap weapons when you use certain skills.
Diablossa
Having a
on
special
samanlainen,
staff with
mutta
bonuses to
se on
fire
fireballeille.
skills and another with bonuses to lightning skills can really power up a combo like this. The
Okei,
sorceress can also
toi
take
on
advantage of
hieno.
powerful trigger gems. For example, you could grab the Cast and Ignite gem and use it with Firestorm. As you ignite enemies, a counter will go up in the top left corner. When it's full, a Firestorm will automatically be cast at the enemy that was ignited. There are 25 active elemental skills. By endgame, you'll be firing off projectiles left and right as
Holy
you rain
shit,
down
mitä
elemental
määrä
storms on
tuhoa.
your foes. Now, those are the characters that will be available at the start of early access, but we will be adding 6 more character classes with just as many skills and options as these. There's a lot more to come. There's one more important thing to mention about skills. Even though we talk about them as belong to each class, in reality there are no restrictions.
Tää peli kuolee
You can
launchissa
use
jo,
all
jos se on
these skills
druidi.
on any
What the fuck?
class so long as you have the attributes. For example, a poison ranger might want to try out using occult
Ja moi
curses to
Unailille,
increase
mä
her
unohdin
poison
sanoa sulle
damage.
moi. Mä näin sun
Or a
viestin
monk
kyllä.
might want to trigger
Moi.
elemental ice balls to use with his glacial cascade combo. The possibilities for
Morjesta.
cross-class combos are practically unlimited. We're looking forward to what kind of things you guys might find. Now, Path of Exile is a game known for build customization, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what is possible yet. So let's talk about support gems. Path of Exile 2 has a system of support gems that can be combined with your active skills to dramatically change the way they work. If you find a support gem, then right-clicking it will open up this screen. Here you will find a variety of recommended support gems for each of your skills that you can pick between. For example, this is a multiple projectiles support gem and can be used to add multiple projectiles to any skill. Normally, when you fire a grenade, it'll look like this. But if we add multiple projectiles, then you get 3 of them. Once you have the gem, you can also freely move it between any of the skills on your character. If you want to have a multi-shot sniper rifle instead, then simply move the gem over to your high-velocity round skill. Okay. Generally speaking, if it sounds like a support gem should work with a skill, then it will work. So it's a good idea to experiment.
Experimentaminen on hauskaa aina.
Each support gem on your character, so you'll want to think carefully about which supports can be used best with each skill for maximum damage. Now, if you want to stick to the recommendations, you should have a perfectly good time. But if you want to experiment a bit more, then uncheck that recommended button and you can see the full list of supports that will work with your skill. There are hundreds of support gems to choose from. And even we don't know the results of all the possible ways these can interact.
What?
Each skill
Even
can have
we don't know.
supports socketed into it.
Okay.
And if you're clever, you can come up with some pretty interesting ideas. Now all of this is just scratching the surface. You can make frost vortexes, break people's armor, make minions explode, make skills repeat.
Kannattaa muistaa kanssa, että
make enemies set each other on fire.
Ne voi mennä triljooniin kanssa lopulta.
Supports let you drastically change the behavior of your skills and create your own unique build, or at least follow someone's OP build guide. So, speaking of builds, let's talk about one of the most iconic Path of Exile systems, the passive skill tree. Yes, it's huge. There are over 1,500 nodes on there. Now, a lot of people open the tree and can get a little intimidated at first, but try not to be scared. There are lots of options, but at its core, it's pretty simple.
Se hyväkin ne näyttää tuolle hitaasti sen.
Each level you get 1 point to put into the tree. Each class starts at a different location, but they all share the same tree. Around your section of the tree, you'll find relevant bonuses for your character. You should be safe in the knowledge that there aren't many wrong choices here. Almost all the starting nodes will be useful for your character in some way. But if you do happen to make a choice you regret,
joo, Minmaxi on ihan eri, että OMG toimiiks tää buildi ollenkaan. Niin tässä on kulta muuten nyt, hei.
Now, the tree is generally divided up into clusters which have similar themes. In each cluster you will find small nodes that give simple bonuses like increased damage, but the real power comes from notables.
Kulta on pelissä.
Notables normally have much more interesting bonuses, and they tend to care a lot more about how your build works and what skills you're using. For example, in the mercenary area of the tree, this one gives a 25% chance for crossbow skills to not consume a bolt. And here's one that gives grenades a chance to blow up
Aina voi prikkaa hahmo, mutta se maksaa niinku ennenkin.
This one gives a chance for projectiles to rebound off terrain, as well as giving you some pierce chance to make that more likely. Note that even though this is in the mercenary section, this would work with projectiles from all classes. So there are often reasons to go to different areas of the tree. In order to get between these clusters, you will generally have to allocate nodes in the attribute highways.
Se on jännä, että sä voit valita mitä tossa on. Onko se intelligenssia vai onko se tekstiä tai jotain? Tää on hieno systeemi.
You can change which attribute these nodes give you for half price at the respec vendor.
Okay.
In addition to notables, you will also find even larger passives called keystones. Keystones have both an upside and a downside, and often require changing your entire build to design around them. A great example is Giant's Blood, which allows you to wield 2-hand weapons in a single hand, but doubles the attribute requirements of them.
Toi on Vovista.
You can use a 2-hand mace with a shield, or even dual wield them.
Toi on Vovista otettu.
Or how about Mind Over Matter, which makes all damage go to your mana pool first before your life pool, but you lose 50% of your mana regen. Skills like these can be tough to build around, but if you're up for the challenge, they can be very rewarding.
Joo, mutta kato, ne näyttää Ilaris uusille pelaajille nyt.
You can swap between weapon sets on the fly as you use certain skills. One of the new features in Path of Exile 2's passive tree is that you can choose to have your passive tree change as you switch between weapon sets to take advantage of specific bonuses on the tree. For the sorceress, you might want to change between fire and lightning specialization. Or you could switch between one-hand and a two-hand setup in order to be able to block boss attacks while following up with heavy hits from your bigger
Tää on
mace.
tosi monimutkainen nanskari
Or perhaps
kyllä.
you could have a full curse setup on your witch to debuff enemies before switching to a
Tää on
chaos
monimutkaisin
degen build for maximum damage.
RPG-peli tällä hetkellä. Ja tässä on paljon semmoisia kuolemia, mitä tapahtuu.
Just use these specialization points as bonus points to
Mutta tää
invest
on myös
however you
paras.
like. But creative players will find plenty of opportunities with this system.
Mua kiinnostaa ne uudet bossit, onko tässä uusia Ubereita tai jotain, se kiinnostaa tosi paljon.
For example, if I manage to defeat the Crowbell, I'll get a weapon specialization book. There are lots of other permanent boosts available from the campaign too. On the map you can see icons that indicate the many optional encounters you can find. Some of them have permanent character boosts, and others have powerful items. If you're having trouble getting past a boss, it might be a good idea to explore and see what you can find. For example, if you defeat Blackjaw the Remnant, you'll gain a permanent increase to fire resistance. One of the most important finds are spirit bonuses. You can find the first one here in the canopy in Act 1. Defeat the boss in this area to acquire a permanent addition of spirit. The permanent buffs you gain from spirit are very powerful, and every class will find a use for them, so make sure you hunt down these upgrades. There's one in each act. Now we haven't even talked about the most important element of character progression, items. That's why we're all here, right?
Jos sun täytyy Naksteri keksiä joku goali, miksi sä pelaat.
Normal, magic,
Vaikka
rare,
kaikki
and unique.
Uberin tappamiset tai jotain.
One of the things you're going to want to do as you play through the campaign is upgrade the items you find, and you can do that with currency items. An Orb of Transmutation will allow you to upgrade a normal item to a magic item with one mod. You can then apply an Orb of Augmentation to add a second mod, then use a Regal Orb to add a third mod, and upgrade it to a rare. Finally, you can use some Exalted Orbs to add more mods to your rare to a total of 6 mods.
More!
One of the things we think is really important is to make these options available to use as you play. All the items that add mods are much more common than they were in Path of Exile 1, so that you can use them throughout your campaign playthrough. We want you to find things on the ground that can be crafted into upgrades much more frequently.
Tää idea näyttää uusille pelaajille.
As well as making the drop rates on these items much more common, you can also get them by disenchanting unwanted gear at the magic item vendor. If you disenchant magic items, you can build up to an Orb of Transmutation. And by disenchanting rares, you can build up to Regal Orbs.
Okei, se disenchant on sama kuin myyminen. Okei, whatever. Mä luulen, että tässä on joku uusi juttu.
Some items you find will have sockets that can have Ezomite runes placed in them that add more mods to the item. If I insert this glacial rune into my helmet, it will give extra cold resistance. This is a great way to solve problems that you have with your build, like resistances or damage. If you find socketed items that you don't have a use for, you can take them to the salvage bench in town to work towards an Artificer's Orb. This will allow you to add sockets to your existing items. Body armors and two-hand weapons can have up to 2 sockets.
Joo, ei se mitään ykköttä, se on ihan fair. Mäkin olen pelannut aina Trade-liigaa itse. En ole ikinä pelannut Solasalfaa. Mutta se on paras tapa oppia vissiin pelistä. Näin kaikki sanoo, ketkä peliä pelaa paljon.
If you don't want to disenchant or salvage your items, you can always sell them for gold. Gold can be used to buy items from vendors, and we've tried to do a lot to make sure that the items they have for sale are actually useful. Every time you level up, you get more stock, so make sure to check back often. Other vendors offer a gamble. Pay a flat amount of gold and you'll get a random item of a specific type. This could be a great way to improve your gear, if you're lucky. Gold is also used to respec your passive skills. Take advantage of this system to experiment with your tree and rework it as required. The other thing you might want to use gold for is the currency exchange. This allows you to exchange currency items with other players on an open market. In exchange for a small gold fee. Now, all items in Path of Exile are freely tradable. We never bind anything to your character, except gold.
Ei kun mitään, tää on vieläkin tämmönen näin. Eikö tässä olekaan AH:ta?
Now, most gear in Path of Exile 2 is randomly generated, but there's another type that isn't.
Mä luulen, että tässä on AH tässä pelissä nykyään.
Ei. Each with a handcrafted set of unusual mods which can dramatically change a character's build. They're not just better rare items, they can do much stranger things that can fundamentally change your character. Corpse Wade will make any corpses you run through explode into clouds of poison.
Oho, kato.
The Sands of Silk is a body armor that changes your dodge roll into a blink.
Se on AH, mutta sun täytyy mennä treidaamaan kuitenkin, eli ei se ole semmonen kunnon AH.
And of course, some uniques are just pure hits of
ainakaan tossa tilauksessa. Oliko siinä Kurrensuon AH:n kautta, mutta itemit ei vai?
Each unique is something you can build your character around. We try to make sure that most unique items have the potential use it in game, even if you find them early on. And as you can see, every single unique item comes with
Okei,
custom art
hyvä
to
kuultu.
match.
Okei, hyvä. Loistavaa.
The last character progression system that you can do during the campaign is Ascension. Starting in Act 2, you will come across Ascension trials.
Varsinaiset gearit vielä.
Tests that you must complete to
Mä
unlock
inhoan
your
tota
Ascension
paskaa,
class.
mutta okei.
We'll explain these trials soon.
Edes
But first,
puolet.
let's take a look at what Ascending can do for your character.
Se on nytkin liigassa, joo.
Each class has
Mä oon
access to
kuullut.
3
Mä en oo
Ascendancy
kokeillut.
classes, but at the start of Early Access, only 2 per class will be available. Ascendancy classes are unique to each character class, so choose wisely. They can
Multiplayer,
drastically affect
mä
how you
inhoan
build your
treidaamista,
character.
kun se on pakotettua sosiaalisuutta yksin
As a
pelissä.
sorceress, you could become a Stormweaver, a master of the elements. Tempest Caller causes elemental storms to be summoned each time you do a critical hit with a spell.
Tää tekee ihan insane AOEita tää buildi. Kattokaa nyt miten se kästää
And
tuolla.
going deeper into the tree, you can make all your damage types apply shock. Make a shock build from any skill. Alternatively, you could become a Chronomancer and
Ooh.
command time itself.
Oh!
She literally has the ability to stop time with Time Freeze. Not only that, but she has many other time manipulation abilities.
Holy
Using
shit.
Temporal Rift, she
Joo,
can
mä en
teleport
osaa
back
vaan
to a
craftata
previous
tässä
location,
pelissä niin hyvin.
resetting her life and
Niin siksi mun
mana
on
back to what
pakko
it
aina
was.
pelata
Or
niin
with Time
treidiä.
Snap, she can
Mutta en
reset
mä
all
muuten
her
pelaisi, jos mä
cooldowns
osaisin.
and cast all her spells again.
Mä inhoan sitä paskaa.
On the Warrior, you can choose between the Warbringer or the Titan. The Warbringer channels the might of his ancestors to gain tremendous power. Using
Joo, Ilaris, mä oon
Answered
samaa
Call, you
mieltä.
can summon
Miksei oo?
ancestral spirits linked to each of your totems. With Jade Heritage,
Joo,
you can encase
Chronomancer
your body
näytti
in a
kyllä tosi
protective
hyvältä.
layer that absorbs all damage until it breaks. Warcaller's Bellow allows you to explode the corpses of your enemies. And with Great Wolf's Howl, you can ignore the cooldowns of your war cries. Let all that anger
Joo,
out.
ei mulla yksilötä mitään toivoakaan, että mä osaisin craftaa kunnon jotain vitu corrupted itemeitä ja eldritch itemeitä ja joo, moro.
With crushing impacts, every hit becomes a crushing blow, which will allow you to stun your enemies with ease. With
Mikä
surprising
lieki heiti?
strength, you can take advantage of stunned enemies to deal 40% more damage.
Pretty cool.
As a ranger, you might choose to be a Deadeye, an expert markswoman who can take down foes with style.
Se on kallista.
With endless munitions, every attack gains an extra projectile.
Joo, se on vaan monimutkaista, Ilaris. Mä en oo koskaan
With gathering
opetellut.
winds, she gains a small
Just
increase
sen
in movement
takia, kun
speed
liian
with every
monimutkaista.
attack.
Ei mä oon
But
pelannut
be
poita
careful,
koskaan
she
niinku
loses them when getting
5
hit.
kuukautta putkeen jossain seasonissa. Mä
With
pelaan
eagle
yleensä
eyes, she will never
kuukauden,
miss,
sit se on
allowing you to
siinä.
stop wasting all those passive
Mut
points
kato,
on
jos Poe
actions.
2 on ihan vitu hyvä,
Alternatively,
niin pelataan
you
enemmän.
could become a Pathfinder, the master of flasks and poison.
On Iippo, mutta en
She
mä
can
niitä
choose
koskaan
from one of
muista, kun se
several
täytyy
throwable
kokeilla itse, että sä
concoctions,
opit
allowing her
ne.
to spend her flask charges to throw explosive bottles that deal various types of damage. A bleeding concoction will make your enemies bleed.
Mitä
while a
muuta tää voi
fulminating
olla kuin
one
vitu
shock
hyvä?
grenades,
True.
allowing you to do extra damage.
Ehkä päästään
Contagious
maksamaan.
contamination allows her to spread poisons between her
Miten
foes,
ehkä?
while overwhelming toxicity doubles the number of stacks they can be infected by.
Miten ehkä?
Running assault allows her to move much
Joo,
more
niin on
quickly
huuho.
while
Mulla
firing,
se on aina ollut
while
semmonen.
relentless pursuit makes her totally immune to being slowed by enemies.
Pakko
The
niin.
witch can ascend into the Infernalist or the Blood Mage. As an Infernalist, she can summon a loyal Hellhound companion.
Infernalist.
The Hellhound sets enemies on fire, as well as taking a percentage of the damage if the Infernalist gets hit. With Pyromantic Pact, you can turn your mana into Infernal Flame.
Oho.
As you cast more spells, the flame builds up, and if it overflows, you'll take damage. Using Bringer of Flame, you'll want to
Aika
make sure
hassa.
you keep the flames topped up. While your Infernal Flame is above 30%, all damage from you and your minions will ignite enemies. She can also transform into a literal
Oho.
demon. While in demon form, she takes an increasing amount of damage, but her cast speed and damage increase rapidly as well. So if you're planning on transforming into a demon, make sure you stack a lot of life recovery. She can
Se
also
on
become
ulti.
a blood mage,
Niin on.
a master of life and energy. All blood mages must pay the price of making skills cost life as well as mana. But in exchange, every monster they kill will drop life remnants, which allow them to quickly gain back that life.
Missä pelissä tää
With
oli?
Crimson Power, she can
Jossain
gain large
pelissä on
amounts of
tää.
extra life, and with
Onks se
Vitality
Vovissa?
Siphon, she can use her spells to leech life back as well.
Eikö se oo
Once
Vovissa
you've got a
Demon
significant
Hunteri?
amount of life,
Joo.
you can use Gore Spike to make your critical hits
Se
deal
tiputtaa niitä
incredible amounts of
palloja
damage.
välillä, sä otat niitä, niin saat
A
hoovella.
monk who is in tune with the elements might become an invoker. With elemental expression, the invoker will create waves of elemental power each time he does a critical strike. With faith as a choice, you gain the ability to meditate, allowing you to double your energy shield. Choose between I am the blizzard or I am the thunder to specialize in
I
cold
am
or
the
lightning.
thunder.
And I Shall Rage will allow you to turn into an unbound avatar.
Millainen se avatari on?
Each time you apply a status ailment to an enemy, you gain Unbound Fury. When you have enough, transform into an avatar to deal way more damage and inflict even more elemental ailments.
Mä olisin
Some
odottanut
monks
jotain
choose to
hienompaa.
reach into the
Okay,
darkness
whatever.
instead. The Acolyte of Chayula can exchange their mastery of spirit for darkness, a resource that can be utilized to both absorb and deal damage. The Shroud of Darkness will protect you from all damage incoming. But if you take
toi on
Grasp
Diablo
of the
3:sta
Void,
toi
you
kello
will deal
suoraan.
extra chaos damage from all the darkness you have. Their Dark Pact offers greatly
Ei sillä mitään väliä
increased
on, mutta siis
resistances
mä
to
vaan
chaos
tykkään
damage,
huomata,
and
että
can
eri
allow
peleissä on
their
samoja
mana to not only happen
ideoita
instantly,
käytetty.
but apply to their energy shield as well. Another node you can take is Waking Dream, which allows you to see into the domain of the Breach Demons. There you will see the flames of Chayula that can be taken to gain life, mana, and damage. The Mercenary has a job to do, but which job
Tästä
suits
tulee
you?
varmaan
You
suosittu
might choose
tästä
to become a
klassista.
Witch Hunter.
Se näyttää niin tosi hyvältä.
Obsessive Rituals will give you a sorcery ward, allowing you to defend yourself against
Less
elemental hits
armor.
in exchange for less defense against attacks.
Uh-oh.
With Zealous Inquisition, your enemies have a 10% chance to explode on death. The chance is doubled against demons and undead. With Judge, Jury, and Executioner, your initial hit against enemies can deal up to 30% of their life and damage, if you're lucky.
Mä vaan veikkaan,
This is
että tää on
great
ihan
fun to
sikaa
powerful
OP tää
bosses.
klassi. Se on... Pystyyköhän sillä jossain vaiheessa olemaan hidastus poissa tosta, kun se ampuu?
Casting spells as often as they would usually do. You could also choose to become a Gemling Legionnaire, enhancing your abilities by embedding gems directly in your flesh. Integrated Efficiency will give you extra skill slots. Thermatological Infusion gives you extra maximum resistances as you sock up more and more support gems. Adaptive Capability allows you to use any color of gem without worrying about attributes, while Crystalline Potential adds extra quality bonuses to every gem socketed into your character. So those are the Ascendancy classes for the start of Early Access. But one thing we haven't talked about yet is how you ascend in the first place.
Niin onks
Ascension
labyrintit
in
vielä?
Path of Exile 2 requires completion of one of the Great Trials, which you'll find as you progress through the campaign. Each one is associated with one of the major cultures of Rayclast. Located in the Vasteri Plains are the Maraketh, a culture of rich tales and brutal traditions, who must do whatever it takes to survive in the desert. The highest position in Maraketh culture is a Sekima, and it is not a title given freely. All aspirants
Mulle tulee
must
tosta
complete the
teemasta
trial of
vähän
the
toi
Sekimas,
Last Epoch
a
mieleen,
glowing
se
gauntlet that will
basaari.
test their strength, will, cunning, and patience.
Se
To
AH-alue.
enter, a warrior of the Maraketh must prove their worth by trapping the soul of a djinn in a coin.
Mitä
You'll
Last
know different.
Epochillekin kävi? Ei siitä kuulunut mitään pitkään aikaan.
Once you have earned your coin, it may be placed in the relic altar to begin the trial.
Tää on ihan uudistettu näköjään vai? Holy shit, dude.
In the trial of the Sekimas, each room has its own challenges to overcome. In this room, each rare monster you kill will send its blood to the chalice in the center of
Kilpailu
the
on aina
room.
hyvä joo, mutta siitä ei oo vaan
Once the chalice is
kuulunut
filled,
mitään vähän
you will be
aikaa.
able to proceed. While fighting monsters in the
Se
trial,
voi
you will
yksilöttää
need to
olla
be very
kyllä.
careful. Each hit will not only hurt you, but will damage your honor.
Joo,
monsters are
Haltron.
well telegraphed, so that you can
Siinä
avoid
oli
their
hyviä
attacks,
ideoita
but if
kyllä,
you
mä
run out of
tykkäsin.
honor, you will fail the trial and need
Varsinkin
to
se
find another
basaari
coin
oli
in
hieno.
order to try again. It is a good idea to make sure that you are well prepared before challenging the trial of the Sekimas.
Joo, Haltron, joo.
After each room, you will be rewarded. In this case, you have been given a key that can be used to unlock chests later in the trial. Once you have claimed your reward,
Golden
you will be
key
shown a map of
opens
the
the
rest of the
golden
floor and may
door.
choose how you wish to proceed. Which challenges would you like to face, and which rewards do you want to claim?
Se on hieno ääni siinä
Some rooms
Poe
are more
ykkösessä kyllä.
dangerous, afflicting you with debuffs that will persist for the entire
Oho!
trial. For example, entering this room will afflict you with spiked
Oliks näitä
shell
ykkösessä?
that
Mä
will
en
cause
muista.
all monsters in the rest of the trial to have 50% increased life.
Wolsen oli hauska. Mä olin varmaan maailman eka Max-levona siinä, mutta sitten me lopetettiin sen
There are
pelaaminen,
many
kun ei siinä
different
ollut
challenges
mitään.
and rewards as you journey through the trial. Deadly traps, waves of monsters, and strange artifacts will test your honor.
Joo, me pelattiin striimissä sitä silloin.
As you progress, you'll be able to gain boons from the djinn, which will help you on your journey. For example, the
Ei se mun
Sekima's
mielestä niin
cloak
huono
will
peli ollut,
revive
mikä
you
sen
once
maine
if
on,
you
mutta
die,
siinä oli
giving
niin
you a
paljon
second
bugeja,
shot at a run.
petit ei toiminut koko aika ja kaikkea.
One of the rewards you may find is Sacred Water, an extremely valuable and treasured resource to the djinn and the Maraketh. Trading it with the djinn will allow you to receive many benefits. You can recover honor, gain additional boons, or remove afflictions. At the end of the floor, you'll find a powerful boss which will truly test your limitations. In order to ascend, you will need to defeat him.
Tosta tulee muuten mieleen niin se Last Epokin ensimmäinen bossi. Sehän oli joku Void-juttu kanssa.
Having defeated the boss, you've earned the right to ascend. But first, the loot. The keys you have found may be used to open the various treasures in the vault at the end of the floor. We only have a single bronze key, so we'll just have to open one of these small chests.
Tää on sama kuin
If you want to open the better ones, you'll need silver or gold keys.
Ei Boy 1 kun Augmentrune. What the fuck?
Your first ascension will allow you to pick your class and grant you 2 points to use in the tree. Now there are more floors and many more rewards that can be found within the Trial of the Sekimas, but we'll save that for the section on the endgame. For now, let's talk about the second Ascendancy Trial.
Niin tähän ei oo puhunut endgameista mitään vielä.
In Path of Exile 2, you can choose whichever trial you like to earn your ascension. Each culture on Rayclast had their own methods to ascend. If the Trial of the Sekimas is not your kind of playstyle, or you're finding it too difficult, you can try another. You can gain all your ascension points from just one, or mix and match them. It's up to you. For early access, we will have 2 trials.
Mä tykkäsin sitä pyörivästä passive-puusta. Se oli ihan jees siinä silloin.
While exploring the Vaal jungle, you'll discover the Temple of Chaos. Before the Vaal embraced the science of corruption, their civilization worshipped chaos. This ancient trial was once used by the Vaal to test their high priests. A high priest of the Vaal must show willingness to risk everything to gain power. Entry to the trial requires a token from a strange entity known only as the Trial Master. For those in which he sees potential, he shall inscribe an ultimatum. Many have attempted these trials in search of greatness. Most have perished. Will you be able to defy the odds? Before you begin each chamber, the Trial Master will offer you a reward and a choice. Choose one of 3 tribulations to affect you through the rest of the trial. These modifiers might beef up the monsters, curse the player, or add environmental hazards like turrets or trap runes. In this case, we'll be picking shocking turrets.
Se ei kuulosta kauhean fiksulta. Se toinen oli parempi. Niitä voisi tunnata.
As you enter the room, the trial master will fill it with hazards to test your commitment.
Ei kun te!
In this case, you must destroy all the monsters that fill the room while dealing with the lightning projectiles from the shocking turrets.
Hienosti hissillä tulee porukka tonne. Hienon näköinen. Se on hienon näköinen, kun se näkee ekaa kertaa. Ei se varmaan merkitse mitään tulevaisuutta, mutta se oli hieno kuitenkin. Piu, piu. Onks tässä muuten spektreja hei kans? Mä olen Vivid Minion Enjoyeria aina niin.
After each room you will need to make a choice. Take the rewards you have earned so far, or go double or nothing. Increase your rewards, but take on more risk.
Mitä se meinaa huoho?
Each tribulation you add is minor on its own, but they quickly stack on top of each other and can become overwhelming.
Niitä on Poe 1, mutta tuleekohan ne tähän?
There are many types of chambers in the trial. Each will test your resolve in different ways. This one simply requires you survive for a certain amount of time. Another requires you to escort the stone idol to the level as elevators full of monsters descend to attack you.
Et onks kommunitissa tilaa uudelle pelille sillä hetkellä? Se on ihan sama kuin hyvän pelin sä teet, jos se ei vaan oo super turbo.
After defeating the boss, you may claim your rewards. Of course there are the items, but you also
se on yksi right totta. Se on tosiaankin se suola.
If you already did the trial of the Sekimas,
se puuttuu Diablosta kokonaan, se on harmittanut muakin.
Now it's possible to go much
sä oot tässä pelissä tottunut niin hyvään minion buildiin.
But we'll talk more about that when we get to endgame. So how about we talk about that now?
FPS tykkää. Niin, mitenköhän muuten tässä tuo performanssi on?
But some people would argue that the endgame is where the game truly begins.
Noniin, katsotaan.
Something that happens almost every time a new action RPG launches is people saying, there isn't enough endgame content. Well, we want to make sure that in PoE 2, people don't feel that way. And we actually only changed our development priority for this recently. The first 3 acts of PoE 2 already take around 25 hours to complete if you're a new player. This is already a pretty significant campaign. On the other hand, people spend hundreds of hours in endgame each league.
What?
We realized that finishing the rest of the campaign for early access was actually a bad idea. Instead of having acts 4 to 6 in early access, we could concentrate on endgame and make that great. For new players, a 25-hour campaign is already a huge game with lots of content.
25 tuntia vaan
what you mostly
pelattavaa.
care about is all the endgame challenges to overcome. So several months ago, we switched the entire development team's focus over to
Joo,
making
mä
in-game
toivon, että se
content.
menee tohon CTR:siin, koska mä tykkäsin Poen julkaisusta silloin aikanaan. Siihen meni 4 kuukautta, että porukka oli max-levulla. Se oli tosi siisti. Eikä se nyt ole ihan järkevää enää olla, mutta mieluummin satoja tunteja.
In order to make the endgame happen at the same character level as what it would be after we added the rest of the acts, we've added a second difficulty level called Cruel, where you repeat the campaign with all the monsters and bosses leveled up. And of course, new rewards. You can kind of think of it as like a new game plus. It's also a lot faster to get through the content the second time as your clear speed increases. That will take you to around level 65.
Tää tarkoittaa, että niitten täytyy tehdä vähemmän
Once we add the
contenttia.
remaining 3 acts, we'll be removing Cruel difficulty. So you'll progress straight from the end of Act 6 to endgame.
Okei.
What is the endgame?
Mä luulen, että nää
To explain that, I'll hand over to
ottaa
Mark.
contenttia pois
He can tell
kokonaan.
you all about it.
Okei.
I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile 2.
Mutta ne ottaa sen pois
one thing that
releasisyksystä.
Path of Exile is
Ei
known
hätää.
for is having a lot of distinct in-game content to choose between. Each in-game mechanic needs to have its own progression system, areas, bosses, rewards, and player power that can only be
Mut
gained
missä
from
se
that content.
kaljukaveri on, hei?
We are going to be adding a lot more over time, but for Path of Exile 2, we decided to start with 7 distinct systems you can progress through.
Niin, Anskari.
This is the Atlas,
Yeah.
and it serves as the core of the endgame for Path of Exile 2. It's infinite and expands in all directions.
On makea.
Now, we are not going to spoil the plot too much here, but corruption from the beast has blighted the land, and your objective is to help fight it. In the center of the Atlas, you will find the Ziggurat, a temple in which the Val research the fundamentals of space and time. Here, we can open portals to nearby locations and begin cleansing corruption and finding resources. In order to power the portal device, we will need waystones. Each waystone has a tier, which will determine the level of the
Se
monsters
näytti
that you will
mobiilipeliltä
face.
vähän. Mun on pakko myöntää.
To go to an
Se vähän
area,
näytti.
simply click one that is adjacent to an area
Civilization, joo.
that you have already
Kyllä,
completed.
kyllä.
Insert the waystone and click Traverse. Portals will open, allowing you and your party to travel to the area you have selected. All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign,
what the-
and we have
what-
dialed
what-
the randomization up to 11.
Mikä toi
The
oli?
monster packs you will face in each map are totally random, and the combination of them can lead to some very interesting combat situations. There are over 400 monster types in early access, and they have a lot of varied and interesting abilities. Depending on which combinations you face, you might find some serious challenges. In order to cleanse the corruption from the area,
Oliko se
you will
Flicker
need to
Strike
defeat
vai?
all the powerful rare and unique
No nyt
enemies
se
in
näytti kyllä
it.
paljon paremmalta
Once you
kuin
have
ennen.
done that, the area will be marked as completed, and you will be able to travel past it to progress deeper into the world.
Spiritborn ei
then
varmaan
the map can no longer be run,
Niin
and you
muuten
will
oli.
have to find another way around
Totta.
to get to the areas behind it. There are also all kinds of other random encounters you might run into as you play maps. One such encounter are precursor artifacts. These are ancient, corrupting monuments that irradiate the monsters around them. The monsters that feed off the corruption are drawn to their power. If you defeat the monsters and cleanse the artifact, you will get a powerful temporary buff. Some of the buffs make you
Luuleeko
faster,
sä, Make, että se
others
sen
rain
takia on
lightning
muuttanut
or fire
oikeasti?
around you, and some even give
Eiköhän
you
silloin
increased
omat suunnitelmat
experience or
ollut jo
help you
pitkään
find
ja se
better
vain
items.
sitten.
You can also find strong boxes. These enigmatic chests guard piles of treasure.
Vanhat
but are
kunnon
always a
strong
trap.
boxit.
Monsters lie in wait to attack you the moment you open it, and the boxes often have mechanisms to unleash powerful spells or dangerous debuffs. There are different types of strong boxes containing different items, and you can even use your currency items to craft them on the fly, so you can optimize the content. But be careful of opening one you can't handle. Sometimes you'll discover monsters frozen in essences, solidified crystalline
Joo,
corruption.
kannattaa muistaa,
These
Make,
dangerous
että
monsters can be
kaikki
broken free.
kusettaa
If you
mahdollisimman
defeat
paljon
them,
elämässä.
the essence they drop can be used to upgrade normal items to magic items with a guaranteed mod from a category. For example, we could use this one on some boots to ensure a movement speed mod.
35.
Rarely, essences
Insane.
will also drop that allow you to upgrade magics to
En
rares,
minä
adding
ainakin.
a
Vipakki
guaranteed
kusettaa.
mod.
Kaikki kusettaa jonkun verran. Varsinkin nämä julkisuuden henkilöt.
This is incredibly powerful since it allows you to get a second deterministic mod in your crafting projects. Combining these with the
Onks
currencies
näitä
that are
nyt
commonly found
Exalted-runeja
with
sitten niin paljon
Rayquaza for
enemmän kuin ennen,
modifying
että niitä voi
items,
oikeasti käyttää
and
noin
we
vaan?
can get a very nice pair of boots indeed.
En mä Ellenistä tiedä, onko se paska ihminen kyllä, mutta
like all items, can also be crafted using your currency items. Adding prefix mods will improve the rewards, while suffix mods increase danger. The more dangerous a map is, the more waystones will drop. Adding mods to your waystones is key to progressing to higher tiers and sustaining them, but it will require you to take on larger challenges. There are a variety of factors you have to consider when crafting your waystones. Some maps will have higher density, some lower, some have more magic and rare chests, or monsters, some are more linear, and others more open.
Se vaimo on se hotti Sally McBealista ja se valkoinen perseeseen pitkä tukka.
If you want to maximize your returns. As you cleanse corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points that you can spend in the Atlas tree. This tree allows you to juice the danger and rewards of all areas in the endgame.
Mä oon missannut kokonaan.
You could increase the number of monsters, the number of rares, the number of precursor artifacts or strongboxes, even the quantity of item drops. As you explore the endgame world map, you'll notice various different biomes. From snow-capped mountains to dense jungle valleys. Most maps are restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover. These cities are constructed by different peoples of Rayclust and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later. You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a lonely man just enjoying his retirement who will give you a unique item for free. In addition, you can find special areas that would make a good spot to set up camp. Clear these areas of their hostile inhabitants and you'll be able to claim them as your own hideout. You can decorate your hideout as you see fit and invite various NPCs to join you there to create your own personal base of operations.
Siis hetkinen, onko siellä mopeja, mitä sä täytyy tuhota ensin vai niin kuin sä saa? Ymmärsinkö mä väärin?
Completing the tower will reveal a large area around it, allowing you to scout out your next challenge. There are lots of things to find, so keep looking.
Okei, tää on siistin näköinen. Uutta tekemistä, se siisti on tässä enemmänkin. Katsotaan, onko se siisteis, kun me pelataan sen 10 kertaa, 20 kertaa. Atlas ei tarvitse 100 eri karttaa. Niin, kyllä. Joo. Ei, kumille on kiitoksia. Tervetuloa. Kiitoksia. 3 kuukautta tieri 1 ostit sieltä. Kiitos tosi paljon, hei Kumilalu. Nyt on hyvä aika subailla meikälle. Me ollaan pelaamassa Poi 2 paljon ainakin. Mä tykkään open worldista yksi ottaa itekin. Mun on pakko sanoa, että mä tykkään open worldista kaikkein eniten peleissä. Ei oo Vovia moneen kuukauteen. Vovia nyt ei oo... Okei, meillä on pari viikkoa Vovia nyt. Sitten tulee tää. Ja mä en tiedä kauan tää kestää. Sieltä on tulossa Vovi-pätsi joskus loppuvuodesta, mutta katsotaan. Mä en lupaa mitään. Muuta kuin, että me tullaan pelata tätä. Jos tää on ihan helvetin hyvä, niin me voidaan pelata pidempäänkin. 6.12. tuli Early Accessiin. Mä rakastan Breachia. Paras mekaniikka koko pelissä.
While the mechanic is familiar, the monsters, bosses, rewards, and progression are all new. A breach is a tear in the fabric of reality. Opening it will allow you to see the demons and otherworldly monstrosities that lie in wait on this other plane of existence. By engaging with a breach, you'll create a bridge between their world and
siellä pieniä käsiä taas?
In order to keep the breach open, you will need to kill the demons that pour forth. The faster you can kill the monsters, the more monsters you will fight, and the more loot you will find. You can also find clasped hands that will open and drop more items if you run over them. These can be a good boost to the rewards of the breach, so keep an eye out. One of the rewards that you may find while fighting monsters from Breach are tablets. Tablets are special items that can be used with precursor towers to add more encounters to the Atlas. Breaches will drop breach tablets. Clicking on a completed tower will allow you to consume the tablet to add more breaches to areas within range of the tower. This makes all the content in the Atlas self-sustaining. Want to do more breaches? Find the tablets, add them to your towers, get more breaches, getting more tablets. Soon your atlas will be covered in otherworldly domains. In addition, like all items in PoE, you can craft them. Use your currency to add mods to your tablets, allowing you to upgrade all the breaches in range. Tablets can have up to 2 mods. These mods do things like adding extra rare monsters, extra clasped hands, or even mods to density of breaches, allowing you to keep them open longer. Often, you will find multiple towers near to each other with overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to rarely juice the mechanic by stacking the mods from multiple tablets.
Okay.
In your fight to hold the breach demons at bay, you may want to use the powers of their world against them. Each in-game mechanic always has player power that can only be gained from that mechanic. Breach is no different. In Breach, you will find catalysts. Items that can increase the quality of rings and amulets by improving specific
Mulle tulee Lilithin paikka mieleen tosta. Se on sen yksi iso tie siinä, mistä menet eteenpäin.
Have its quality improved by catalysts up to 50%. In this case, you could create a ring with around 170 life. Breach rings can become some of the strongest rings in the game, giving you some good motivation to face the demon hordes. In addition, each in-game mechanic needs to have a pinnacle in-game encounter.
Uusilla peleillä on enemmän pelaajia kuin vanhoilla.
Collect enough of these and you'll be able to create a breach stone. Using a Vaal technology called the Realm Gate, you can use your breach stone to access their domain and bring the fight to them.
Vaal Gate.
In this twisted domain, you will find nothing but a single massive breach. Triggering it will reveal hordes of breach inhabitants.
Joo, katsotaan Veke vaikka enstreamissä. Tänään katsotaan tää ja mennään nukkumaan.
And should you be fast enough, you will be able to fight their leader, Zesht. We that are one.
We that dreamed. We in nightmare.
Oh shit. Sun siivet on käsiä, hei. Ei, nyt se spoilaa mekaniikat. Mä en tuu kuolle tälle ikinä.
This is just one of the pinnacle encounters of PoE 2. We won't be showing the rest of them, so you will have to discover them for yourself.
Hyvä,
but
hyvä.
Rest assured, this is some of the hardest content we have ever made. All these encounters have specific uniques that can only be found from them. But
hardest content we have ever made.
Defeating Zesht will give you points to allocate into the breach
Vipaan
section
gameplay.
of
Siinä
the
oli mä. Se oli mun gameplaytä.
Allocating these points will make breaches and the breach domain even harder, but will give you more rewards. The small nodes will increase the difficulty of the twisted domain, while the large nodes have more specific bonuses. For example, this node adds more clasped hands to your breaches, and adds a pack of magic monsters that can guard them. Get some more points and you can allocate Waking Nightmare, which will double the number of splinters you get from clasped hands, and inflict you with a mysterious debuff. In order to earn more points, you will need to defeat Zesht at a higher difficulty, and some rewards from Zesht can only be found by increasing the difficulty of the Twisted Domain above certain thresholds. Defeating Zesht at difficulty 4 will be a challenge indeed, but there are many more threats in Breakfast.
Toi ei tuu koskaan tapahtuu mulle, ei.
Ritual altars are sacrificial sites built by the mysterious king in the mists. If you encounter this symbol on the atlas, then you know that the area contains ritual altars. Ritual altars demand tribute.
Mä oon Poi ykkösessä esittänyt vaan huonoa pelaajaa. Te tuutte näkemään nyt, kuin hyvä mä oikeesti on.
After the sacrifice, touch it to begin the ritual. The monsters you just killed will be resurrected by the King of the Mist's dark magic, and you must fight to survive. The tribute you have offered to the altar can be spent to buy powerful items, but they can be expensive. To gain more tribute, you will want to find more altars. Each successive ritual you do within an area will spawn the monsters revived by the previous ones, in addition to the ones you sacrifice.
Järkevinä olisi varmaan pelata vaan softia, mut ei se kuulu meidän tapaan. Me pelataan aina HC.
Significant amount of tribute to spend. One of the rewards you can buy with tribute are omens. These are special items that allow for metacrafting. Crafting items that affect other crafting items. Have an item with good prefixes but bad suffixes? This omen will help you to remove the mod you don't want, while keeping the ones you do. There are a bunch more of these with different effects, but we will leave them for you to discover. Now, don't forget that Ritual will also drop tablets, which can be used to specialize into getting more rituals. If you want to get to the pinnacle boss of Ritual,
jos sä teet YouTubeen kuideja ja pelaa softia, jos sä pelaat jos on striimaaja, niin pelaa HC:tä.
The pinnacle encounter of Ritual is the King in the Mists. Feared by the Asmeri people, he is said to have brought eternal darkness to the wild. We won't show the encounter, but just like Breach, there are a range of unique items you can get for defeating him, and you will gain points in the Ritual section of the Atlas tree.
Ooh.
Some maps have been touched
Delirium,
by
okay,
a mysterious entity has taken a special interest in you. Step through the looking glass and you will find your nightmares coming to life. When you touch a mirror, the mists of delirium will spread out across the area, infecting your mind. You must stay within the mist to maintain the nightmare, which is as profitable as it is terrifying.
Mä muistan, se bännättiin siitä.
However, the deeper into the mist you travel, the stronger the monsters are. Be careful not to overstay your welcome.
Mä menin tän läpi silloin Poe 1:stä Deliriumin monta kertaa. Se oli oikeesti aika vaikea loppua kohden. Minionit vaan paukutti.
Also offers a strange crafting material, distilled emotions. By combining these emotions, you are able to instill your amulet with a notable from the passive skill tree. This is like gaining an extra passive point for free attached to your gear. They are also particularly great because you don't have to traverse the tree to get, allowing you to get off-class bonuses that would normally be much harder to get. Distilled emotions can also be used to instill your endgame maps, applying Delirious to them and adding additional difficulty and rewards, allowing you to further juice your endgame maps. The tablets you can find from Delirium can be used to further improve it, increase pack size, make the fog dissipate slower, or improve your progress towards the pinnacle encounter of Delirium. Speaking of which, every now and then you will find simulacrum splinters. The mysterious entity will create strange encounters based on warped versions of your own memories. Monsters and simulacrums come in waves that get progressively more difficult. You will receive loot at the end of each wave, and you will have to make the decision to leave now or continue on, facing up against even tougher foes from the mist. The bosses you will face as you get deeper into a simulacrum are truly terrifying. If you can complete a simulacrum, you will gain points for the Delirium section of the Atlas skill tree. Next up, we have Expedition. Occasionally, while clearing corruption, you will encounter these Kalguran settlers. The Kalgurans have discovered ancient burial sites with lost Verisium artifacts, and they want you to help dig them up with explosives. The Kalgurans have marked the locations where the relics can be found. Place explosives as best you can to dig up as many as possible. There is just one problem. Corruption has brought the corpses of their ancestors to life, so you might have to do a little cleanup before you can reclaim the artifacts.
Se menikin oikein heti.
You can also find remnants, the destruction of which will further anger the restless dead. Each one you blow up will make the subsequent monsters more powerful, but also more rewarding. Danig, Rog, Tujin, and Gwenin will exchange the artifacts for useful items and runic magic. You can also find tablets to increase the number of expeditions and the rewards. This one increases the radius of explosives, while this one increases the number of remnants you will find. Eventually, you might discover a logbook. These are special maps full of buried treasure and relics, essentially one giant dig site. Here, you can create an extremely long chain of explosives and go through a very high number of remnants. But be careful, many remnants have mods that can really brick your build, so you will probably want to avoid these ones. If you add too many remnants, you could easily make the encounter harder than you can handle. There are all sorts of interesting things buried under the ground in logbooks. You might find dripping caves and hidden pirate caches. But the most powerful encounter is Olroth, the ancient undead commander of the Knights of the Sun. Defeating him will grant you unique rewards, as well as points to spend in the expedition section of the Atlas tree.
Se on pay to win, kyllä. Literal pay to win.
But we are not done yet. The trials we talked about earlier have much more content when you get to endgame 2. Just like the other endgame systems, they also have progression mechanics, unique rewards, and player power
Katsotaan, jos tässä pelissä on jotain siistiä, kun tää julkaistaan, niin voidaan ostaa ehkä jotain hienoa. Tuetaan devejä.
Each floor has its own challenging rooms and a floor boss that you will need to kill.
Paljon liekkiä tarjolla ainakin semmoinen. Mikä isku.
There are 4 floors in total, leading to another pinnacle boss at the end of the last floor, which can only
no en
be
mä tuu sinne HH pääsee, jos nää ihmiset ei pääse, ketkä on tonnin laittanut peliin. Turha kattoo edes.
These are like passives that you can craft with your currency items. They can be really powerful as they allow you to stack modifiers that may not be easily accessible on the tree normally. This jewel gives lightning damage and shock chance, for example. There are quite a few jewel sockets on the tree, so it's possible to gain a lot of power.
Se on muuten hassua, että noi jewel socketit on nykyään tolleen tossa noin.
Don't provide any bonuses themselves, but affect other passives surrounding them. This jewel increases the effect of small nodes and radius by 25%.
Ooh.
With careful placement in the tree, you could get a significant amount of power from it. There are also unique jewels available with very interesting effects, but you will have to find those for yourself. In order to push further into the trial and uncover the secrets of the Maraketh, you will want to take advantage of its progression system, relics. Relics are items that can be placed in the relic
Mä en oo
altar
varmaan
as you
trialeja
start the
koskaan
trial.
pelaillut
They
edes.
give special bonuses that affect the trial, making it easier and increasing its rewards. Of course, you can craft these with your currency items, making them even stronger.
Of course.
If you can complete the entire trial overcoming all 4 floors, the final boss will reward you with one of many unique relics. These relics will be consumed when used on your next run.
Ei oo mitään hajua, mistä saa parhaimpia relikkejä tai mitä, niin täytyy pelata kaikkea.
This is the last flame. If you use it, you will have only 1 honor for the entire trial, so you will need to do a completely hitless run. The Trial of Chaos also extends into the endgame. As you gain inscribed ultimatums of higher and higher levels, the number of chambers that you can go through increases. In true Vaal style, this allows you to take even more risks for even more rewards. At endgame, you can progress through up to 10 chambers with 3 bosses on a single run. Stacking 10 tribulations on top of each other will make this a significant challenge, but it's worth it. The Trial Master will tempt you with items of the Vaal Empire, such as Vaal Orbs. Vaal Orbs are powerful crafting items that corrupt your gear with random, mysterious outcomes. Corruption prevents an item from being modified further, so it has to be the last step of your craft. But it's also the most impactful one. For example, if you use one on your body armor, it might add a new powerful enchantment, or it might re-roll up to half of its modifiers. Vaal Orbs also have the ability to add a socket, allowing you to bypass the normal restriction of how many sockets an item can have. A body armor could get up to 3 sockets this way, allowing for a significant number of mods. Vaal Orbs can even modify uniques. Adding enchantments or sockets to uniques can make them incredibly powerful, but there is a good chance that you will break them as well. The Trial Master will also occasionally offer you soul cores. Originally formed by Chaos, the Vaal sought to replicate soul cores through human sacrifice rituals and blood magic to power their civilization. Soul cores are powerful socketable items, with mods that cannot be obtained from regular runes.
Okay.
Like all endgame content, there is of course a pinnacle boss. The final chamber will drop keys to this mysterious door. Some say this is where the Trial Master himself resides. Perhaps you are willing to take the risk to find out. Had enough yet? Because there is still just one more thing. The most difficult content in Path of Exile 2. While mapping, you might come across this fortress that has emerged from underground, surrounded by an enormous maze riddled with danger. Is the maze preventing something from getting in?
Or something getting out?
This fortress is of ancient origin, and its construction has similarities to the towers and tablets that you have been using on your journey through the endgame. It is clear from the entrance that there are 3 keys required to enter. Local factions are vying for access to the fortress in order to seize the power they believe will be inside. Each of the factions leaders have managed to get their hands on one of the keys, so you will need to defeat them. Each faction is led by an Uber-Act boss. You can see one of them inhabiting this city, but in order to fight him, you will first need to defeat their 2 lieutenants in the adjacent zones. Be careful. If you fail against either of the lieutenants, or to kill the leader, they will move on, and you will need to find them again. Kill all the Uber bosses and you will gain access to the fortress. We aren't going to spoil it, as we can't wait to see you guys attempt it for the first time.
Kill all the Uber bosses.
Is there a tree you get points in after killing it? Of course there is. This is Path of Exile. There is always another tree.
So these are challenges for PoE 2. As you can see, this project is crazy huge. Way bigger than even we expected when we started out. But how do you gain access? Well, during early access you'll need a key to get in. To thank our existing PoE supporters who have spent more than $480 US, we'll be giving you guys a key for the PC version for free.
Ei oo
Anyone else who
tullut.
wants one can get one by purchasing one of the new early access supporter packs
Nää
that have just
valehteli.
been released to the store. If you just want early access to PoE 2, then you can get a key in the $30 early access pack. The pack also comes with $30 of points to spend in the MTX store. But we also have a variety of other supporter packs filled with exclusive microtransactions, points to spend in the store, and even physical items. The cosmetics can be used right now in PoE 1 and in Path of Exile 2 when early access starts.
500 €.
Most of this footage has been recorded in Path of Exile 1, since that's where you can use them immediately. The Lord of Ogham supporter pack contains a cosmetic armor set befitting of the Count of Ogham himself.
Olispa niin iso streameri Haltroid vois. Ei tarvis välittää. Mä ostaisin joo. Sinne meni sponssirahat vai? Niin vaan. Oliko se edes viimeinen tieri? Oi, tää on hieno. Kato.
This one doesn't look so vicious though. On top of that, you'll receive the Iron Count's Y-hander to apply to your one-handed or two-handed swords. For those who are wanting to decorate your hideouts with fond memories and tales of Path of Exile's history, you'll also get a series of hideout statues. This pack contains the statue of Hillock. For Path of Exile 1's closed beta, each pack contained a true New Zealand icon, the Kiwi. Following this tradition, all packs in this series will also contain a new themed Kiwi pet. The pet will loyally follow you into battle, but run away at the first sign of trouble. Become the ruler of the desert with the
se
king
tulee
of the
sun mukaan taisteluun, mutta heti kun taistelu aikaa, niin I'm out.
Show your mastery of traversing the sands of the Vasteri
Kivi on söpöeläin. Eiks ne kivi on niitä, mitkä heiluu tälleen? Eiks ne oo niitä?
Now each armor set comes with body armor, boots,
$480, niin sun pitäis saada se.
If you'd prefer to show them off, you can turn the gliding off if you want. The accompanying back attachment equips you with two powerful pillars that can control and manipulate lightning. They will periodically release their energy in a powerful blast while in town, and hover in a circle around you, arcing lightning between them, forming a barrier of energy. Replace the appearance of any bow with the Faradin's Glory skin. Or replace the appearance of a spear with the Tyranny's End spear skin. This spear skin can be applied to staves and war staves in Path of Exile 1. If you want to truly show your worth as a king of the Faradin, then you definitely need your trusty, moving, entire city fortress known as the Dreadnought to travel across the Vasteri plains. In Path of Exile, you can decorate your hideout however you like, and it's no exception here. It comes with a variety of thematic elements to use, or use decorations from elsewhere in the game. Additionally, you will get the Deshret's Blessing level up effect. The King of the Faradin Kiwi pet. And last but not least, a statue depicting the Vaal Oversoul from Path of Exile 1.
Tää oli
For those who don't know
legendaarinen
how
bossi.
supporter packs work, each pack comes with all of the cosmetics from the previous tier, so you'll get all the items from the Lord of Ogham supporter pack as well.
Meillä on sponssia jäljellä 2 viikkoa. Kerkeeköhän se menemään? En mä varma. Jouluna on sitten ainakin toinen.
Which causes thaumaturgic energy harnessed from sacrifice to spill from your
Mä en ihan varma, että onko meillä jouluna ihan tasan joulustriimiä vai onko se sen jälkeen. Vedetään vähän kaljaa ja pelataan golfia teidän kanssa.
And this can be applied to shields in Path of Exile 1. That's not the only Vaal weapon you'll
harvoin oot peruttu, Vipa ostaa sittenkin itse juttuja.
And the Royal Sacrifice Dagger skin. You wouldn't think to put sacrificial gems on a key,
mielellään jos olisi rahaa niin paljon. Se vaatis vaan aika iso striimi.
Will receive the Thaumaturge of the Vaal Kiwi pet. And the Statue of Dominus. This is also the first pack in the series with a physical item.
Se on vähän liian kallis mulle kyllä.
Pahattelen. Logo t-shirt. But if you don't want one, you can opt out and return for additional points to spend in the
olisi kyllä hyvä olla.
Becoming a warlord of the Kardu.
Pelaat kerran päivässä tai kerran viikossa vähän kasinoa ja loput Path of Exile. Eikö se olisi aika hyvä?
Iridescent feathers resembling power. Enough to even impress the ancestral gods, specifically Tukohama, the Kardui god of war. Overkill, you say? I think the Kardui people would disagree. Why not drop a gigantic totem on rare enemies you slay to crush them to a pulp?
Aika hienoa, jos siinä on siis semmonen. Mulla ei vaan legit oo varaa sellaisen.
Where ancestral chief Mata will summon a giant canoe manned by Kardui warriors to aid in your crafting desires.
We must all start somewhere.
You'll also get a pair of weapon skins.
Mitä noi weaponit on? Tennismailoja vai?
To your one-hand or two-handed axes, or Tukohama's crusher to your one-handed or two-handed maces.
Mä en tykkää tästä oikein kyllä.
A true Karui warlord is always accompanied by their trusty kiwi. Equipped with armor and harnessing ancestral magic, they make the perfect
Olisi aika hypä.
Once one of the most feared beings in Rayclast, Malachi was slain by a powerful exile.
Malachi on hienoimpia bosseja kyllä
pelissä.
pelissä.
Past, present, and of the future.
Silloin kun se tuli, se oli ihan äärimmäisen vaikea. Se on nerfattu aika paljon nykyään.
You'll want to look good in real life too. By becoming a Warlord of the Karui supporter, you'll also get a Path of Exile 2 hoodie.
Ooh.
Our final tier of supporter pack in this series is the Liberator of Rayclast supporter pack. The Liberator of Rayclast armor set and back attachment come made with the finest materials in Rayclast.
Jesus, mikä se selkä.
Suspended in divine power. Set up your base of operations in the Beacon of Salvation hideout. Why restrict yourself to just one island when you can liberate more? The Beacon of Salvation hideout comes equipped with your own collection of small islands and personal operators of boats that you can use to row between them. Just walk to the piers.
Mä tykkään sitä tunteesta, kun tulee uusi peli. Se on ihan paras. Sen takia mä tykkään hyppiä pelistä peliin tosi paljon.
Best represent your well-owned hideout. Everyone in your hideout can use their own boat. Why not have some races?
Oho.
You can also get the Window to Twilight portal effect. A beautiful mosaic piece of art that shatters and reveals a gateway to your desired destination as you approach it. As you walk away, the glass magically reforms back to its original
ainakin
form.
löytyy. Lostark-saari vai?
The throne of the ruler map device. Sure, this map device can create portals to in-game maps, but it also comes with a throne you can sit on to oversee your growing kingdom. Look down on the plebeians running your maps. Being the Liberator, though, is not just about sitting on your throne all day. If you do decide to join the fight yourself, you can leave a high priest in charge.
Pleikka tarvii 4 teraa. Niissä on kiva pelata eri pelejä. Mä oon samaa mieltä.
Supporters will also get a set of varied weapon skins. The Light of Divinity Scepter skin.
Joo, Nanskari, mäkin pelaan näitä aina yksin. Älä huoli. Nää on yksin pelejä. Diablo on ainut, missä porukka vähän pelaa porukassa. Koska se on open world ja siellä näkyy muita. Mutta tää on 100% yksin peli.
With the help of two deities, Sin and Innocence, the exiles aim
Hienon
to defeat them once and for all.
Holy moly.
This supporter pack also contains the Path of Exile 2 art book. This 215-page full-color art book includes a huge amount of amazing concept art and lore produced during the long and exciting journey of Path of Exile 2's development.
Lorea.
And finally, Path of Exile has a tradition of letting the community participate in
Onks
designing
Path of
game
Exileissa
features.
mitään lorea edes?
The Path of
Tuntuu
Exile
vaan,
2 will
että
be
siellä
adding the Twilight
bosseja
Order
heitetään
foil
päälle
reliquary.
vaan. Sehän on samat
By becoming a
tekoälyllä.
Liberator of Rayclast supporter, once Path of Exile 2 is released, you will be able to select any unique item you have found and be able to drop it from the reliquary. Once players have submitted their items, keys to the reliquary will start dropping, and other players will be able to find foil versions of uniques that you have submitted, along with a message for the lucky player.
Mikä näköinen.
The more players submit the same unique, the more chances there will be for the reliquary to drop them, so choose wisely. Now, almost all of these items are available to use in PoE 1 right now. There are a few exceptions where the item class clearly doesn't exist, such as crossbows or flails. And there are also a few microtransactions on weapon types that are unavailable in PoE 2 at the
Kyllä
start
se
of early
PoE 2
access.
paremmalta
Once
näyttää.
classes that use those weapon types are added, those microtransactions will be available to use.
Mun
If you
mielestä
can't decide
ainakin.
which supporter pack to choose
Se on vähän
yet, you can
terävämmän
always start
näköinen.
with the early access supporter pack that just includes a key and some points to spend in the store. Then you can upgrade to any of the following tiers at a later date. These supporter packs will be available for purchase throughout early
sinne
access.
niinku se lore on tosi huonosti kerrottu, mä oon samaa mieltä.
Thank you for your ongoing support.
Mut se peli ei perustu lorelle ollenkaan.
Now, I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions.
Ziggy D.
Stick around, because coming up next, we have a live Q&A with Ziggy D.
Joo, ykkösen lore on kyllä vähän semmonen, että ei kukaan sitä oikein välitä. Cycle-fysiikat ja waifu-skinejä. Se on tärkeä. Sitten saadaan ne kaikki kuumeritkin pelaamaan peliä. Ja niitä on miljoonia. Niitä on miljoonia.
To the post-show discussion and Q&A. I hope you all enjoyed what you've seen so far. It's been pretty exciting for us here as well.
Että joku on tehnyt videon siitä huoho vai? Okei. Ja morjesta Noukka-Hirillä. Hyvää päivää.
And you're already cooking a new ascendancy class.
Yeah, for sure. You've got to design whenever you can.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Chatti on täynnä kuumereita. Kaikki tykkää tisseistä ja pyllyistä. Meikäläinen ei aio katsoa tätä osuutta enää. Tässä on varmasti lorea ja kaikkea tämmöistä, mitä te ehkä haluatte katsoa, mutta meikäläinen kattos tarpeeksi tästä nyt jo. Mä olen aivan myyty. Mä olen kyllä aivan myyty. Me lähdetään pelaamaan tätä sitten, kun tää tulee. Hyvä muutos tuossa muuten tuohon Dippe 4, että voit tallentaa buildit samalla tavalla kuin Diablo 3. Oliko se nyt tulossa jo? En mä siis Iippo tätä striimiä sulje, mutta mä oon sulkemassa mun striimin siis. En mä katso enempää. Mut joo, siis toi on tosi hyvä, että sulla on se vaatehuone mikäli ja wardrobe. Mahdollisia ihmisiä, jotka niistä tykkää tisseistä ja pyllystä, niitä jotka valehtelee. Se on totta kyllä. En tiedä. Mut hei, tää oli iso hype, näytti jutuilta ja me lähdetään pelaamaan 6. päivä. Mä ostan sen 30 € jutun varmaan sieltä sitten, niin päästään pelailemaan. Näytti hyvältä kyllä.